Got to get a sip of my coffee here this morning. That'll do. It is Saturday morning, I think. Shit, sometimes you would think you keep your days in order. Pretty sure it's Saturday. Just got my shower at good old Planet Fitness. That's van life right there, buddy. RV living and all that rolled up in one. Well, I will tell you that I have thinking about what am I going to talk about today if I don't run over a curve here. Sorry about that. I'm backing up. And I think it's just van life in general. A lot of people have questions about, they follow a lot of van life channels. I think Jared Tachi made a comment the other day and kind of a little bit of an uprising. And Jared's actually right. Every time something gets popular on TV or YouTube or the internet, good old Hollywood or some of these people love to plant people in there and prop them up and create fake van life channels. Or they like to take people that were van lifers and get behind them with money and build a script or kind of get them to build van life way more than it is. And it's kind of hard to describe. I'm not going to say more than it is. I think it's like more than how you would live your life. In other words, they try to make it like it's some fairy tale thing, but in the end of the day, people ask, I don't know, how to make the decision whether RV life is for me or van life is for me. And I simply look at it this way. If you're thinking about van life, or moving in an RV, living nomadically for a little while, a couple of ways to find out. And I did 4 years of research here, just looking at what do I want to do? Do I want to do an RV? What kind of RV do I want? If I build, what would I do? How would I do this? Do I want to keep my house and do both, or do I want to just sell and do everything? Well, I say look at your life as a whole and how you live it. Look at the things that you want the most. In other words, not really want, but what your life requires. In other words, I'll give you an example. Look at the things in life about, like, what kind of coffee pot do you require in life? Me, I've realized that I just need a water kettle because coffee's coffee and you got tea bags. Sometimes I get coffee at the Sphinx station here locally, or I get a local coffee shop, which I hit when I'm traveling a lot. Because you can pour over, it's the same thing. It's really not that intricate. You don't need, that's just me. I don't think you need, because don't get me wrong, I had an expensive $200 Keurig at the house. That thing was nice. I gave it to my dad. They love it. Put your little pods in there and go with it. They love that, That's just one example of thinking of things in your life from when you wake up in the morning and go through your day, how much space you require. Think about, how you live your life when you get up in the morning, and whether you're going to work or whatever you're doing or throughout the day. And if you require a second vehicle, which I just preferred a second vehicle myself, because when I'm in town, I just don't want to drive this around all the time. And I most certainly did one with the RV. So you think about all those things and then take your life as a whole and gauging how simple things are. Like, do you really need all these material possessions? Because your furniture in your house ain't going in here, so that's gone. You have to get into a minimalist state of mind. And with me, I record music, so I figure, okay, I've got my ideal gear that I need and my music, and I can record anyway. We got that covered. I never really sat in my living room much in my house. I didn't watch a lot of TV. If I did, it was, maybe before I was going to sleep, and I watch everything on my devices. I sat at my desk mainly in a certain space that really didn't take up a whole huge desk. And a few things in the kitchen. Well, you break down your kitchen, a few things you need. Like maybe you need a little microwave like I've got back here. I haven't used that microwave much, but I do love my microwave. It has a convection oven. I didn't order it as a convection oven. However, I guess I'm going to use it one day. They didn't even charge me for that feature, but it's okay, Some people don't even require a microwave, and that's okay. There are van channels that just use propane and little certain iron skillets or things to heat things up, whatever they do. And some use an Instant Pot. An Instant Pot is fantastic. Some just don't care. They do whatever, you know. You look at the things you need and take all those factors and stack it on top of RV life, of what you see. And just kind of, you know, compare apples to oranges. It's going to give you a diverse indication of whether you really feel it's for you. Best advice given to me was simply this. They said, some guy said, Chris, I'd buy an RV first just to see if it's for you, because you can always sell it and go back to home, you know, condo living. And if you like it, it'll help teach you, what do you really want out of an RV? That particular RV or something else? Or do you really want an RV? Do you want to build? My ultimate decision, and I knew I was going to build, was when I went to the Tiny Fest Northwest last year in August of last year in Salem, Oregon, right outside of Salem, Oregon. And that's where I hung out and met Jared Tachi a little bit, and for a couple of days just chit-chat with him. And I walked into a particular van, and Jared actually did the tour of this van. And it's on Cruise and Comfort's website too, by the way, the Cruise and Comfort AC website, because he showcased it. She has that air conditioning unit. And I knew right then and there when I stepped off in her van, I said, this is what I want. This is what I've got to do it. No, hands down, we're doing it. I talked to Mark from Nomadic Customs for a little while. Nicest guy. He would probably spend all day talking to me. These guys are a great talent at building these vans and doing this stuff. It's obviously not everybody can do it. But, you know, look at all these factors. I spent 4 years, and I tell you what, I swear to God, I got probably a master's degree in RV and van life. All the notes I had, what I was going to do. And, you know, when I went to actually build this van, you take about 3/4 of those notes and just toss them out the window, because 90% of my vision went into this, but there were some things I didn't think that we had to go back and do, and things I changed my mind on, and things I really didn't think I needed. It kept it more of a simple approach. So there's a lot of factors in it. It really is. There's a lot of factors in what you want to do if you want to live in an RV or van. It's possible. Listen, this is no fairy tale. You see these van life channels, there are people living in their vans and RVs. No lie. You see it all the time. But with Jared Tachi, he was just like, listen guys, I know you watch a lot of channels, you follow them, just be careful. Keep your eye peeled. Keep your eyes open. There are a few fake van life channels out there. I believe there are. I still wonder about that Janelle chick who in 2 months got 4 million views and 2 million subscribers, or less than 2 months. It was the craziest thing, and something just didn't add up about that situation. It was a little weird, but I don't know. I don't know if she's like really, people can't seem to figure if she's really living in that van. From the indication I have, because I'm not going to say something's fake unless I know, but Dave 2D, the guy that did all the van life roasters, he's so funny. If you ever watch Dave, he's so funny. He went from van to RV. RV didn't work. Now he's in a Honda Element, loves it, and that's his thing, and it's cool. He's madder, so I don't know if he's really going to speak the truth. He knows of Trenton Alley. I follow Trenton Alley, their van life channel, them really well too, and I think they got a lot of sponsorship and a lot of money behind them. Something's weird there too, but maybe they're all sworn to secrecy on this whole van life deal. I really don't know. I don't know any of those guys personally, so I don't know. I think the only one I've really met is Jared Tachi. I saw Bob Wells out there, but I never met him. Bob was standing about 10 feet from me. He had a camera crew with him, and I didn't really want to bother him. I knew they're doing a documentary on him or something. Some point along the way, there'll be a documentary about Bob Wells. Last year, they were filming it, and he was doing a tour of some lady's RV or van out there in the parking lot there at Tiny Fest Northwest. And I knew Bob would be there. I just didn't think. When I pulled up, if you've seen Bob Wells' videos in his van, when I pulled up and I stopped and was like to my right, I looked at that van and I said, that's Bob Wells, gotta be. But the weird part about it was that Bob had California tags on his van. And I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't think Bob resided in California. For a van lifer, the taxes and everything, the cost of living in California is so expensive. You'd think he would have done it in another state. Like, you know, they talk about these, you know, domicile states like Florida and Texas. And I think think it was North Dakota or South Dakota. It's the 3 biggest domicile states with the best cost of living. I mean, I'm keeping mine South Carolina because it's my home state and everything is set in play here. I'm fine with it. I think I compare South Carolina to Florida, it's apples to oranges in some respects. But anyway, I just thought that was a little weird with Bob. So you don't even know what to think. But I'll tell you what, Bob Wells is the kind of guy, and I talk about him sometimes, and I tell people this all the time. If you're looking to get into RV life or wherever, however the hell you want to do it, you've got options to live however the hell you want and the way you want. If you cannot learn from Bob Wells how to live in a vehicle, an RV, van, whatever it may be, tent, you'll never learn. Bob has some of the greatest resources, and the guy will teach you how to live life big, ultimately small. It really is. I've watched a lot of his videos. And I'll tell you an interesting story. It's like how small world it is. A lot of these guys in Bob's videos, they move around a lot. And you start traveling around out west and stuff, you start crossing paths with these guys. One of the guys I met, I was at the RV park in Portland, Oregon, way out of downtown. I was nowhere near all that crap that's going on now. I was at the Columbia River RV park there, just I think it was north of the airport. Nice RV park. Oh, very quiet. I stayed at all that thing. I was there just somewhere to sit for a week or two. I had to get some work done, and I went over to Astoria for a while. On a side note, Astoria, Oregon is one of the coolest small towns you'll ever go to. That place is so cool. I love it. But anyway, I'm leaving. The day I'm leaving, I look up and I see this travel trailer, and I said, this guy is familiar. And I'm like, that's the guy that's in Bob Wells' videos about doing the air conditioning strictly on solar. Jim is his name. If you look up Jim, Bob Wells, solar air conditioning, he hasn't done videos in a long time. He's been real quiet. I hope he's okay. But I went up and said hey to him, and the guy would have talked to me for hours. He went up in my RV. He was talking about the air conditioning and all, what I could do if I would add solar to it. And I was just like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to keep it much longer. I'm thinking about building my own, you know. So there's a lot of factors. You just have to look at what it is that you want out of life and out of RV and what your situation is. Everybody's situation is different. There's a lot of guys that work, 8 to 10 hour jobs a day and just want to live in a van locally. They don't care if they travel. I know a guy particularly now I follow, and in fact, he did a little shout out for me, and I appreciate you, man. The van, he's a guitar player. I don't think he locked into the fact that I am too, or he would love to have sat down and picked with me. We were going to meet up outside of Nashville on my first trip back in June, and we just didn't link up. His name's Matt, but his channel goes by Matty Van Halen. I guess he's a fan of Van Halen, and he's has his own little niche about his van channel, and I follow him. He's a good guy. I'll tell you what. His situation is he works a job. He's living there in Nashville locally, and he really didn't travel much until this summer. He went out to Colorado for a little bit, and then he went up to Smoky. So I think he's liking the fact that he might do more of that. So everybody's situation is different. His is unique. Chrome Valdez, that Van City Vanlife up in Vancouver, Canada, not Washington. I said Washington at some point. Sorry about that. He's up in Canada. I've emailed back and forth with him a little bit. I had questions about some things, but I feel sure 100% in my heart he's as real as it gets. 3 years ago, he sold his apartment and got a Ford Econoline van, set it up, and he didn't even build it. Now, he did a video yesterday saying, well, listen, guys, if you're going to do walls, do the ceiling too before you do this. And he's right, because now he's had all these cabinets put in. He had no ceiling. It was just cloth over insulation. He's got to pull all that stuff out and put ceiling in. It's going to take some time. And it happens. You got to do it. He's got some good help up there. But anyway, that was a side note. But he started out with he built a platform, some totes, no insulation, mattress. He's built his bed nice, and it's worked for him. You can imagine now, he doesn't have a lot of heat like we got here in the southeast, but he's got cold weather, a little bit more than here, and it's cool. He, may do with these Wave 6 catalytic heaters and propane, which you got to be careful about that too. Propane, I'm a little leery of propane, speaking of that, but come winter time, I don't know how. I think I'm just going to do like I did with the RV. Fleece blankets, and I've got that hike and bike sleeping bag. And when I get up, I crank the van heat on to heat the room and get dressed and go get a shower and do my thing like I do normally in a day. So that's, a few months out. So, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of go over a little bit that if you're thinking about getting into an RV life or something like that, think of your situation. Some of you might want to park it at an RV park and rent space there and then have a vehicle to travel in or pull it around, which I thought about doing that. Listen, if I go from this van to another van, I've got to think about the situation of what I want to do. Do I want to get a travel trailer and park it at an RV park and have a different home base there, maybe pull it around, or have a travel van? I can take that van and just do my all-in-one and some stuff and set it up and go travel. You can do that. There's a lot of things you can do. Listen, there's a guy in Arizona. His name's Russ. He has a channel. He's he has his own twist, a little bit different. RVer TV or something like that. I followed him a little bit, but his situation where he just got a van, and just last summer he had his own portable power pack and things he needed. There was no air conditioning in it, but Russ wasn't anywhere it was real hot either up in the northwest part of the United States. But he traveled around in that van, said it worked fine for him, but there were some things he needed. So since then, he's built out a huge Sprinter van and done things a little bit different on his own in his way, fitting his need, kind of shifted to it. But Russ has a home base there in Quartzsite, Arizona. Lives in an RV park where he's in an RV, and off season, he'll, things become a ghost town after about April or May. There's nobody, and it gets real hot. So that's travel time to get out of there. Comes back after the summer and the winter and hangs out there. It's really quiet until about October, November, and that's their busy season. But he has his own niche. You got to think about a lot of these factors at play. And how I did it is I just, started looking at all these channels and researching different facets of RVs and stuff. How I decided, my moment was, I talk about this. Let's go back and watch a video talked about minimalism. I put a link to the guys I watched that video. And then after I watched that video, I started just downsizing, just going through my closets, getting everything done. Because regardless, minimalism, I think, you feel so much better, and it's just so much a better quality of life. And the importance of it is it's not about things, it's about you and your life. And what, the essentials that you use and it works best for you in life, the things that work for you. Minimalism is just a good state of mind, and it's really not for everybody on that either. But that's what told me that, I could live in an RV or something small and move around, do what I want, and I wouldn't care. I love it, and I am. I just looked at it as like, I've got a 2-bedroom condo, 2 full baths, beautiful appliances, everything I need. But I don't sit but one little quadrant of that desk, one side of my bed. I don't use my living room. Hadn't 4 months sat there and watched TV or anything in it. Not on the porch as much as I thought. It's like 1,600 square feet or more, of space. And didn't use a hell of a lot in the kitchen. I'm not a huge cook. I cook the things I want and need to cook. And I just said, if I scale all that down, that's an RV right there in a nutshell. I can pick that thing up and move anywhere I want to move and go anywhere I want to go. If I decide I want to live in another state, put this baby in drive and go. Unfortunately, we have hurricanes here. So if I got to get out of here, God forbid, I put my house in drive and get the hell out. So anyway, think of those things, man. I just wanted to kind of rap about that this morning a little bit over some coffee that I need to drink before it gets cold. And if you have any insight and your experience, man, chime in down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't, if you're new to seeing anything I posted on here. Subscribe, and if you don't like it, that's fine. You can tell me to go to hell. Just subscribe and Tell me you hate it or tell me you love it. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, 20 minutes is on the clock here. It's a little bit longer than my average video. And if something cool comes up, I'll cut you in on it. But I'm going to get my day rolling, and we'll talk at you later. Thanks so much for watching. Be cool. Bye.